It's 25 years since a defender won the PFA Player of the Year. That was Paul McGrath back in the early 1990s. It's 30 years since the defender was the Football Writers Association Player of the Year. That was you.
It was, aye.
Virgil van Dijk this year, is he going to be the man?
Do you know, that's a real tough one. It really is a taste thing. Because there's no doubt it's between him and Raheem Sterling. Now, if you're somebody who thinks that the game is about goals, then you're going to go with Raheem Sterling. If you're someone who thinks the game is about the influence that you have on not only your team, but in the league you play with, then Virgil van Dijk's your man. I mean, in his position, you could argue that he's better in his position than Sterling is. But what you can't argue is that the influence that Van Dijk's having is more of an influence than what Raheem Sterling is giving Man City. If Raheem Sterling got injured tomorrow and didn't play again, Manchester City still have the firepower to win the Premier League. If Virgil van Dijk gets injured tomorrow and doesn't play again this season, you can kiss goodbye to the Premier League title.
There are some Manchester City fans out there who would even argue perhaps that Raheem Sterling wouldn't be their Player of the Year. Bernardo Silva has had a fantastic year. Sergio Aguero again has obviously been a key difference maker if they're to land glory. But when it comes to Liverpool, the word on everyone's lips is Van Dijk.
Right. Well, because he's... Listen, I don't think it's too hard or too much of a stretch to say that right now he's the best centre-back in world football. By some considerable difference. I mean, you know, a lot of people like to see the centre-backs knocking lumps out the opposition and slide tackling and all that passionate stuff. But the greatest centre-backs, you don't really see them. And that's what happens with Van Dijk. He's so big that he wins aerial challenges. He's got a turn of pace that he doesn't get beaten for speed. But what he does do better than anyone else is he reads the game. And when you read the game as early as he does, that means that you're in a starting position where it's going to look like actually there was nothing on anyway. So he's going around putting fires out before they start. I mean, and again, the influence on the team. Again, when you make everybody around you not just a little bit better, but a huge bit better, I mean, what more do you want? Listen, the best centre-back I ever saw play for Liverpool was Alan Hansen, and I was lucky that I played with him. Well, this guy is the closest thing I've seen to Alan Hansen.
In terms of reading the game, in terms of just commanding the whole back line for you, he has that big an influence on the team?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. Yeah. Again, the best defenders don't have to meet challenges. The best defenders are there before the opposition even thinks it's going to be there. The best defenders are there just to tidy up little bits of stuff and get you back on the attack again. I mean, the best defenders generally go unnoticed because they just keep things all nice and calm. And Liverpool, since he came, defensively, have been nice and calm.
And that's the point, isn't it? When it comes to these awards at the end of the year, it doesn't go to a defender because of that. Because if they're doing their job right, you don't notice them. You notice the players further up the pitch. The writers and the players have kind of been together in the last, I think, 7 years. 6 of the 7 years they've picked the same player. I mean, it's hard to argue really with his inclusion as that player to break the mould.
Yeah, I think in some respects though it's all about timing some of the time, you know. And Liverpool, the biggest weakness was at centre-back. They had a good side, but the biggest weakness was at centre-back. You throw in that they haven't won the Premier League for 29 years, all of a sudden you've got the right person at the right time to come in. And so I talk about you don't notice defenders, but Liverpool defensively were so bad that you actually notice this guy. That's why you notice him. So timing is everything, and he stepped in just when Liverpool needed somebody to take that extra step to the title. And if they do get the title, he's going to be the reason they did it.
Okay, well, Van Dijk and Liverpool have only conceded 20 Premier League goals at the moment and counting. Of course, it's a huge improvement from last year. It's 10 years since they conceded less than 30 in a league season, and since they conceded less than 25, well, it was that magical year when Stevie played in 87, 88. They won the title, of course. We'll see if Van Dijk is celebrating on more fronts come the end of the year. What a fantastic year it's been.